So I have some bad news for you. Republicans want you having lots of kids, and they also want you not having enough money to support those kids, because most households have to be two-income households to survive right now when there are kids involved. But that doesn't mean anything when the Republicans want you to be a one-parent at-home household without giving you any of the goddamn resources to be that. White House aides discussing handing families money for each child they have, and removing federal tax credits for daycare. So, what does that mean? It means the same amount of money, the exact same amount of money, is going to be going from the government to parent households, but that money is no longer going to be money that you get for daycare. It is now going to be money they are going to try to use to incentivize you to just stay home. And I promise you this, however much they try to give you is not going to be enough to support your fucking household. The White House is working to adopt policies to allow Americans to have more babies, even as it is cutting back on federally funded daycare. That's because they want a stronger family unit, which they argue comes from one parent staying home. Now, I don't disagree, but the way that you have one parent be able to stay home is by putting a control on fucking inflation and making sure that the minimum wage goes up to a point where parents are able to support themselves and their kids. Not just, oh, well, let's just have a little bit of a government handout here that can disappear at any point. Okay, so White House staffers have discussed several options for encouraging parents to stay at home with their children. 3 people who have been part of the discussions told the New York Times. Ideas being discussed include giving families more money for each child they have, removing federal credits for daycare, and opening up federal lands for home construction. Now, this is confusing to me because we don't have a shortage of houses in the United States. We have more houses than we have family units. So I don't know why that one is being proposed. I don't know why cutting tax credits for daycare is being proposed. I don't know how that's actually going to be helping anybody. Giving families more money for each child they have seems to make sense, but this is effectively just a government welfare program at that point, right? Like, isn't that something that Republicans have been against for years? Like, I remember, Nixie Chan, thank you very much for resubscribing. I remember when Ronald Reagan was being put, like, I don't remember this because I wasn't there when it was happening, but you know what I mean. I remember when Ronald Reagan was presenting the idea of the frickin' welfare queen to everybody. And this was supposed to be something that Republicans hated, and now they're just like, what if we did that, though? Like, what if we did? Oh, shit, how did the sound get muted? That's weird. I guess that's gonna be cut out of the VOD. Suris, Suris, your content. I know it's muted. I get it. It's muted. It's muted. I've seen the umpteenth muted thing. So, anyway, geez, you can tell I'm tired. You can tell I'm tired. So make no mistake, this sounds like a good thing on paper. It sounds like they're giving money into your hands so that you can be a parent at home, but this doesn't really do what I think they are wanting it to do. Here's my argument. So, on the one hand, you get some money in your pocket by being a parent in a home along with another parent. However, what happens if you find out that your spouse is abusive and you have to leave that house? Are you just going to be stripped of that money? Is that effectively going to be a financial incentive for you to stay together with an abuser? That feels kind of dumb. Also, getting rid of the tax credit for daycare that any parent could take advantage of feels like a way to make sure that those parents are stuck together. And if you're making sure that those parents are stuck together, again, you are banking. You are banking only on those parents being exactly what they should be for each other, which is not always the case. I know that one of the reasons that Republicans are probably doing this is not just to increase birth rates, which again is not something we actually need to be doing, but is also to try to lower divorce rates. But here's the thing. Divorce rates are not a moral issue. People breaking up because they don't want to be together anymore should not be something that the government is chiming in on or trying to offer incentives for keeping people together, especially if those incentives only exist so long as those people have a child together, which, I mean, what's going to happen if you're, say, a gay couple who's adopted a child? Will you also have access to this credit? I don't know if that's what's actually going to happen at all. So this doesn't seem like it's going to be doing what they actually want to, or what they say they want to do. They want to say, hey, instead of being a 2-income household, you can now be a 1-income household with one stay-at-home parent, which sounds very, very nice until you realize that you are being stripped of other options effectively because of the way this is going to be put together. Even as the White House pushes a conservative social agenda promoting traditional marriages and gender roles, studies are unclear whether a child does better at daycare or at home with a parent. This comes as many American families need 2 incomes to survive. Nearly 65% of mothers in 2-parent households with at least one child under the age of 18 work outside of the home, a figure which has increased significantly over the course of the past half-century. Similarly, child care costs have also increased, with an average of $11,000 per child per year as of 2023. Families in many large cities pay more than double that. So, like, where I am right now, rent is anywhere between $1,000 and $1,400. So, given that rent is anywhere between $1,000 and $1,400 for 1- and 2-bedroom fucking homes, which is barely what you want to be raising a child in, you want there to be 2 or 3 rooms that they're able to be in besides just the goddamn living room. You have these homes, these apartments effectively, because having the income to actually be able to afford a house, paying the down payment, that is sketchy as shit. They're asking you to pay a fuck ton of money. If you are the single parent who is working their way through that, and your rent is $1,400, well, let's do a little bit of calculation. Let's say you got that house, you have $1,400 as your payment because it's a 2-bedroom house, because you need to make sure, or 2-bedroom apartment, because you need to make sure your kid is able to be taking. You need to be able to make sure that your kid is able to be taken care of. Holy fucking shit! Why am I so tired? You need to be able to make sure that your kids have their own space, because once they're out of the crib, they need to have their own room, if possible. So, if our minimum wage is still $7.50 goddamn dollars, and the parent is working 40 hours a week, and they are working for 4 weeks, oh, what's that? The parent can't fucking afford that because they only made $1,200 goddamn dollars. How are they supposed to do that? Is the government going to provide enough money to double that? Like, let's double that parent's salary. Instead of $7.50, they're making $1,300, or they're making $13 an hour, right? They're making $13, or sorry, I need to actually double that. They're making $15 an hour. So at $15 an hour, 40 hours a week, multiplied by the 4 weeks that they are working during the week, let's go ahead and take the rent cost out of there. So there's your $1,400 rent. Maybe it's $1,200 where you are. Maybe it's a little less. So let's see here. $70 a week on food. Man, that is a minuscule amount, but I can definitely see spending that much when you're having to make things meet. Let's go ahead and say, instead, let's use the average price that homes pay for groceries. So, where I live in Georgia, the average cost of groceries a month is like $607. So, let's go ahead and minus that $607 for groceries out of those bills. Now let's pay the power bill. Boy, howdy. Let's go look at what my power bill is. When did I pause? When did that happen? I don't know when the pausing happened. But it's like when the government has COBRA, right? As a thing that is supposed to help protect you when you lose your insurance from work, when you get laid off. And the theory is that, oh, well, Cobra Insurance is going to help you. It's going to let you maintain your coverage. It gives you an option for that when you get laid off from work. But the actual way that Cobra functions is you end up paying 12 times as much as you did for medical when you were under your company plan, because you end up having the increased medical costs from being on an insurance plan, but you don't get the added benefits of being part of a group plan that actually lower those costs for you. You don't get the negotiating power of the insurance company anymore. Like, it doesn't actually help you, but the government gets to point to it and say, oh no, we have a program for that. We have a program that's supposed to help with that. Why do we need to reform anything? We've already introduced a program that fixes that. Curious as to what the comments say here. In the U.S., the average cost to raise a child before any college debt is included is now $375,000. So you can take your $5,000 and, well, no. It's a situation each family is going to have to address on their own, but I'm not generally in favor of removing the choice. As it is, childcare in my rural area is so expensive and of limited availability that it actually outweighs the benefits of a second income. But that's not going to be the case for everybody, and it's definitely a problem to try to make things more expensive for Americans to provide care for their children. Can't afford to exist? Just quit your job and have a bunch of kids. That'll solve everything. Fucking hell. American families are putting groceries on layaway, and dude thinks what we need is to cut your family's earning power in half and add mouths to feed. It's not just more babies. Republicans are pushing the ideas of one parent should ditch work and stay at home with the kids. I wonder which one. Fucking hell. Scarlet Necromancer says maybe just publicly fund healthcare and make private healthcare illegal. Boy, that would be great. Jassa says, also as a disabled then child, yeah, 375,000 is a low number. I guess, like, so they said what? They think the cost of childcare is 11,000 per year is what they were guesstimating. And let's say your child is in the home for 18 years, maybe 20 years is more realistic with how things are right now. Maybe even longer than that. So, like, the bare minimum would be $22,000, but that is the bare minimum. That is, your child has food and clothes. I think that's probably the best thing that they would be able to negotiate off of that over the course of those 20 years. Said, main reason Gen Z doesn't want kids is simple. The world is shit and children don't deserve to be raised in a shit world. And Gen Z was that child raised in a shit world once. There's another reason Gen Z doesn't want to have kids. They can't afford them. That's the other reason. They can't afford them. Goblin says, maybe instead of having the government pay to encourage people to have kids, we make consumer and worker protections so that people can actually live in comfort and needn't worry about childcare costs. Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? That would be fantastic. But instead we live in the darkest timeline, so. Also, the weird thing is that when it comes to a call to action for, like, what to do about something like this, no matter how you fight against this, you're going to look like the bad guy, right? This is the catch-22 that Republicans get to put you in with something like this. Is I can argue against it, and they'll go, what, you don't want you don't want mothers staying at home, being able to afford feeding their kids? What kind of monster are you? Why would you be against this kind of legislation? It's that kind of shit. Like, I've described it before, it's binary thinking. It's the idea that they've provided something and that's good enough versus the idea that they haven't provided enough with the solution that they have given. So I want to give you here's what we do about this, but in this situation, the most you can do is just get in contact with your representatives and ask them if they think this is enough. Ask them if they even think this is anywhere near enough. Obviously, protesting is a thing you can do over on Mobilize, but this is definitely a conversation between you and your reps. This is something that you need to be going to your state capital and lobbying for or lobbying against. This is something that you need to be in communication with your reps using 5 calls or, hell, even ResistBot if you want to make it nice and easy and automatic. In general, This is a thing that you're going to have to be very careful about how you articulate it to your representatives, because you never know if they're just going to use the exact rhetoric that I used here in the hypothetical, where they go, "Oh, do you not want kids fed? Why would you not want that?" Ignoring the reality of the situation. That's my guess is what's going to happen. But let me know if your mileage varies when you actually do go and talk to your reps. And again, the best way to do that, aside from, talking to them over the phone via 5 calls, would be to go to your state capital and talk to the representatives who are a little lower than the representatives in Congress. See what they say. And you go to your state capital when they're in session, and you get a white slip of paper, and you mark down the rep you want to see and the conversation you want to have with them. Like, it's very simple. It's very straightforward. I've done it. You can do it too. If I can do it, and I'm a fat guy who hides behind a cartoon avatar, I promise you can do it. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below, and if you plan on doing anything yourself. I would appreciate the feedback and how those conversations go for each of you when you talk to your representatives. That said, if you haven't followed me on social media, please check me out on Blue Sky. Also, I have a Magic the Gathering channel you can check out if you want to maybe decompress from a lot of the political talk. Support me on Patreon if you would be so kind. And also, I have a Fourth Wall shop where I have a lovely playmat designed by my friend Stevie, which features me battling the Netcoin with Blizzy and the Space Colony arc in the background of all things. That said, let me know if you guys end up talking with your reps. I would love to hear your stories. That all said, thank you for watching, and insert end of video tagline here. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full-time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fire Shard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.